Hello, my name is Kylie Logan. I'm pretty much new to this, but like to the whole YouTube thing, but not really. I've had my YouTube for years. I used to do like makeup content and whatnot, but that ended up just not really being me and my whole niche and my thing. Um it's gonna be kind of hard for me to just put my finger on and pinpoint and tell like what exactly I'm here for. Um, One thing I can say though is I'm coming as I am. I am a biblical based woman, person, human being, and new creation. So that is going to be what a lot of, our topics and things will be about. But with this first video, I wanted to start somewhere that's very important. And not just to me, but this is important for the whole world right now. It's been important, but right now, the whole situationship and relationship, love and not being loved, and being of love and not being of love is a mess. And so I kind of came up with some things that I had written out and I meant that I've typed out. And I kind of filtered it into a way where there's now 7 different subjects and series. They're all about the same thing though, pretty much. They all like correlate. And we're going to spend 3 days on each of them. This was not on purpose. I didn't choose for it to be 7. I didn't choose for it to be 3 days, but that's just what it is. So, and I can't really just describe like what the topics are. I know sometimes we can get in here and like, we could be like, okay, here's the topic, here's the topic, here's the topic. I can't, because what this is for me, like I said, it's a come as you are situation. I'm always come as I am. That's why right now I'm in this Dollar General shirt. I've never worked a Dollar General a day in my life. This was the man that I used to be with. I jacked it from him yesterday. Um, then, and no, I was not involved in no immorality yesterday. If I was, I would not be on here speaking today. Now things have happened, and that is why I am here today, and we will get to that. Number 3 actually is going to be my personal. There's the number 3. You can't see it because it's backwards, but that is actually going to be my personal subject, and this will all end up making a lot more sense. But we are going to spend 3 days on each topic. I only have 5 of them printed out. I have to print out number 6, and there's 2 parts to thing 6, and then I have to print thing 7. But I'm gonna do that before like 4 p.m. today. So I'm at 5 p.m. today, so it's okay. We can just take our time because today we're focusing on this one. And believe it or not, this one actually has the most pages. I think it has 5 out of all 7. So we're just gonna dive right in. I was kind of trying to figure out this whole biblical and spiritual thing as far as like men switching up. And I was kind of stuck on my own behalf because like I said, I did just get out of a relationship, and in this relationship I asked for, no sex until marriage. And he said he wanted to marry me. We went picking out rings and whatnot. This ring is not that ring. This is actually from a different failed engagement. We can talk about that another time. I know how that sounds. But the men be letting me keep the rings, so I do still wear them here and there. What is the state troopers doing? Anyways, let me mind my business. So anyways, I kind of been finding myself. So I had a daughter at 15. I'll just do a little brief real quick. I got pregnant at 15 and I had my child at 16. It wasn't something that I was proud of. I'm more than 100% proud of my child and my daughter, my beautiful baby girl, and who she is today. I don't know if you can see. Hold on. I don't know if you can see, but that's my baby girl. Blonde hair, blue eyes. That's me and her. But, so I, of course, being pregnant at that age, I was not happy. I wasn't proud. God was with me. My mom put me out. I was homeless, barefoot, pregnant, afraid. And my biggest fear at the time was, I had God in my heart, but my biggest fear was somebody like either taking advantage of me or me giving in to being taken advantage of as far as sex goes, and my baby being inside of me. And so I guess where I kind of messed up in life was I didn't realize that, okay, so your baby's only in you for 9 months. If my baby's only in me for 9 months and that's how I think and what I feel for 9 months, what happens after that? I had my baby at 16. After that, I literally felt like relief. She's not inside of me. Now I don't have to worry about defiling her. And I just gave myself back to what got me there in the first place. And I ended up being in two horrible freak car accidents. The first one, I was supposed to go through the windshield, but I just smacked it, messed up my jaw. So you'll see like I have a speech impediment. I might do my lips a little funny. My jaw sometimes does what looks like when people are on cocaine. I do not do coke. Never, ever, ever. Like that, no. But it might look like I have a coke jaw sometimes. I might end up with a speech impediment, a lisp. I might start to stutter. I get lockjaw as well. I didn't go through the windshield. I hit it and broke my jaw, my face. Everything had to be sewed back together, put back together. And that was September of 2018. And I think like the 20th. And then the year after that, September 2019, of the 20th, I was in a severe car accident that now I am an outpatient, a tri-poly outpatient. I shattered every bone from my spine down, and I had a spinal cord injury on top of every single bone, literally my pelvis, my femurs, my ankles, my shins, my calves, my shoulder blades, everything being fractured and broken into fragments. My spine, it still to this day has a spinal cord injury. It's a complete burst fracture. So a lot of that, and then I'm metal from my spine down. So metal fusion from like my bra strap all the way to my tailbone. Then I had to get my tailbone removed and 2 screws that are about this long put into my sacral joint, basically in my cervix, in my pelvis. So a lot of things happened to where, and I used to be a stripper. So a lot of things happened to where I now cannot do those things. I can't dance. I can't have intercourse. I can't have kids. And that's not to say that I was not still doing those things. As I've been doing these things, I started to create a pride and a persona that I'm not happy with. I wasn't happy with, and I was this close to forcing myself to believe that I was okay and happy with everything that I was doing until just yesterday. I got my butt handed to me by the social media. I've always had a big following and a big platform. I've always been a social media module. YouTube is just somewhere I've never came. I've been here once, back when I was a stripper. Well, twice. Like I said, music. I used to do my makeup videos, and then I also have done music videos with Sleazy, Welch. Like, it's been a lot of big time videos. Obviously, I was shaking my derriere. I have given that life up and have given my life to Christ. Yesterday, I kind of messed up and I gave my opinion on something, and the whole Facebook community dragged me. In the end, because I am a very biblical and I like to assess and then correct. So when I did that on the social media, people were like, oh, you know what? I apologize. I take that back. You know, you're great. Continue to be great. I'm glad that you're actively working on yourself, which was by the grace of God. That was great. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. And that's all I ever wanted people to understand, no matter what conflict we have, no matter what problems or what disagreements we have or opinions, we can always comprehend more or talk less. And in the midst of that, it's a WWJD sort of thing. We have to watch what we say, but that doesn't mean, that we have to cut off certain bridges or just blow up everything, crash out. And I had to learn that. So I literally was like, you know what? Thank you guys for my own homework. Now I have some homework to do, which is on the basis of talking less and comprehending more. So that is where all of this basically came from. So we're just going to start with what is happening in the last days. So it has been observed and written about in biblical and spiritual decisions in the last days. Many Christians understand that the adversary Satan is increasingly using deception, temptation, and emotional manipulation to draw believers away from God. Specifically, using people and fake love can be very effective for a few reasons. So I wanted to really dive into this. And like I said, we'll do 3 days on this. This one will probably actually definitely need 3 days because like I said, it's the longest. It's 5 pages long. But we need to get into this deception. So in the Bible, it talks about the last days and how in the last days, the deception is going to be out the roof. So we're going to see, we're going to go ahead and look up verses as we're reading, because that's one thing I will always do. I will never try and take, those, I will never try to make my own understanding and take from or add to the verses. So because we're talking about deception, I mean, it's not going to hurt to just look up the real verses. And my Bible is here with us. So we'll know like this ain't no joke. This ain't that. Because, people kind of like to pick and choose sometimes. Oh yeah, I also don't work. So I'm definitely 100% here to dedicate and serve my time to this. So it says God, specifically using, so the deception and temptation and emotional manipulation is to draw believers away in the last days. So we have to highlight and understand the fact about the believers. Because if you're not a believer, you're not going to understand what this is about, why it's even a problem, and things like that. Deception and believers is a word, or I meant not a word, because that's not one word, but are 2 words that get used in the same verses, chapters, sentences a lot, because believers can easily be manipulated and deceived. Unfortunately, it's not like, magical pixie dust where, it's like sprinkle, sprinkle, and we just know something. We can just do something and it's magic. God, it's realistic. It's realistic. And that's where we have to stay at with it. And that's where I have been being deceived. This is real time. This stuff is realistic. God can do what he says he can do, what his promises are to us, all that good jazz. He can do those things. But we haven't read in here yet that he's just going to come down, sweep us up, and do like this, and pat our booty. Oh, baby. No. Oh, yeah, my bad. I got my little thing on. That's not how that's going to happen. So, unfortunately, he does have to let us, but fortunately, he has to let us know that there are going to be believers who might be easily tempted. And you might not even be easily tempted, but you might be a little weak in certain areas, And that's because you're a believer. You're not being hard-hearted. You're not being prideful. You're not being evil. And sometimes you can be so spiritual that you're dumb, babe. That's why God is here. And like it says, people, that Satan can specifically use people and fake love, and it's very effective for a few reasons. And it says it's very common. It's deeper than men just switching up. There are a few layers here: attraction versus alignment, communication style, and spiritual conviction. Let's walk through this honestly, not blaming, ourselves, but also not ignoring what honestly is happening. And that's what we're talking about, this deception. So we're talking about believers. This is something that I would like the people of the world and out of it to understand. There is a difference between a believer and an unbeliever. Yes, we're both human, but our hearts are very different. The believer has a certain way they are to live because they have accepted Jesus Christ, and they want to exuberate and live through the way of Christ. So they become a believer. Unbelievers don't. So what we're talking about, and that's why I said too that this whole platform and everything is a lot different. I'm coming as I am. No, you might see me with some eyelashes on some days. These are my real eyebrows. So, I got one lash on down here. Other than that, like, you won't see me with no makeup on. My hair, I won't say isn't done, but it's not did. You know what I'm saying? Up under here. But one of my big goals with all of this is about not fitting in. It's not a problem to not fit in. That's not a problem. And us as women, we can get really, really low and feel really, really low because we're not fitting in, because we're not being accepted, because there's just something in us that they don't see that makes them want us on their team, or whatever the case may be. We have to be very careful of that, especially when God is so accessible, for us. So yeah, that's something that you guys kind of won't see a lot, because as a believer and a woman, there is a certain way that I should dress. There's a certain attention that I shouldn't draw to myself. And I know some people might feel like, oh, that's not presentable, but that's not what I'm here for. That's not what spreading the good news is for either. The good news isn't about whether or not I'm presenting it in a tutu with a labubu hanging off of my Ed Hardy backpack. It is about whether or if I'm in cloth. That's not what it's about. Because you could be talking to an angel, you could be talking to somebody, a servant, you could be talking to devil, all types of good jazz. It's about whether or not you are a believer and an unbeliever, and if you live accordingly to the way of a believer. As women, there's a certain way, and as men, there's a certain way, and that's taking all gender roles off the table. We're not talking about gender roles for relationships. We are talking about the man and the woman, the one that was born with, a vag and a penile. The one that was born with an Adam's apple versus no Adam's apple, but boobs, like that's man and woman. We don't have to go deeper than that. And that is what a lot of these 7 different categories is going to break down. We're about to crack this Da Vinci Code. We're about to crack the Matrix. And guess what? We're also going to sprinkle a little cherry on top. We are going to crack the code of women. And the code to be cracked is just the right way women should be. And so that's all we're going to do. We're going to pour light into these topics with the Bible in our hand. And please just bringing your Bible everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Until it's just something you automatically do. Until it's just something that you have a bag, or it's just in your purse. Because I got small ones that go in my purse. And then I got ones that I can fit in my bag. But get you a bag that you got all your knickknacks in. Get you a whole bunch of cute little, you know what I'm saying? Even men, they got gold, gray, black, all different colors that you can use. Green, blue. Look at them, little manly colors and stuff. All different shades of blues. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to get in this. Like y'all used to get into to them football games and them cheerleaders and stuff. Okay. So we're going to walk through this honestly, not blaming ourselves, We're also not going to be just blaming others, but we're also not going to be ignoring what is happening with ourselves and others. We're not here as believers to blame each other and to cause conviction and condemnation and judgment and cast stones. Us believers know that. We are here to give each other correction. We are here to give each other, the understanding of God's discipline. So it says why men could possibly be drawn to us. And this is more so a believer, not even just necessarily women. But this is why men and women are drawn to believers initially. We're going to start there. And we're going to spend 3 days in these. And then we'll go to the next topic. And then at the end of our 7 subjects, we will get to basically, debunking them all at once. And hopefully on to the next things, which will be the prosperity of it all.